Yes. Well, I'm Brother Taalik. Excuse me, I'm tongue tied. Excuse me. I'm Brother Talib, of who's assistant uh, of Reality Temple Ministries on Earth, aka Operation Exodus, Mississippi. Yes, I'd like to go into a very critical topic, which is a critical topic of our day and time at as of this moment that I'm speaking on it. And you know, I like to say, the finishing off of black people's extermination is a very critical subject in this time of what we're facing as a people here in America. And matter of fact, although I'm only mainly concerned about those who are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, but perhaps, and as well, this even extends topic-wise toward the total destruction of all darker-skinned people with woolly hair throughout the planet Earth, as we can also see today. But like I said, I'm gonna keep this primarily on topic concerning merely dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America, because it's very important for us to understand that all we've been through as a people in this country, whether it's been chattel slavery or historical Jim Crow, lynching, like present day racism with the mass incarceration issue going on with us as people in this country, the heroin and crack cocaine epidemic, that's plagued us as a people in this country, along with crime in other ways that's affected us as communities, as families, as well as individuals, all in one whole nutshell. And this all is geared towards our destruction and towards the total annihilation of the so-called Negro in America. Now, I've heard many people, especially in religion and in the so-called conscious black community, say things like, well, we made it this far and been through all what we've been through, and we still ain't totally been destroyed. Well, let me say this. Oh, and for those of you in religious and spiritualityism, let me say this here to you. The only reason why we were spared during chattel slavery, because it wasn't because God spared us. It wasn't because even Caucasians sparing us, as we have been led for so long to believe, according to the history or mainstream history in this country. But we also were spared because our people fought. We took chances, major chances, even to the point where lives was lost, you know, on behalf of our people who stood up so that we could have some type of kind of real equality and justice in this country. Okay. So, when you want to talk about the freeing of slaves was merely the primary issue of the Civil War concerning the North and South. Well, history, through extended research, dictates that in a very different way. You know, beside what was told to us in schools, in institutions across this nation, and what's been told in us in the educational textbooks of this country, and in the mainstream press and media of this country, it's because our people stood up. You know, how did we make it out of Jim Crow? Because our people, like in the civil rights movement, like Martin Luther King Jr., Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, you know, risk their lives, risk their freedom, even in the course of being viciously attacked, you know, ending up in jail, as well as having constant threats put on their life every day, because they want to see true freedom, justice, and equality for our people in this country. So we just didn't, you know, these little gains that even came from that just didn't come by osmosis, or the saying of that some divine God took his hand and reached down here from the sky to intervene. No, that ain't how things go. Okay, and the reality of it is that it was because our people fought, like I said, and died. It's even well as some who even went to jail, you know, for the sake of our liberation as a people. You know, for once and for all from this oppressor. That's why I have to say, before I move any further in this video, this is dedicated to people that I'm speaking of, even in the nature of that manner, like, again, Martin Luther King Jr., Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Nat Turner, David Walker, Denmark Vesey, you know, Dr. Martin Delaney, you know, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, you know, and also for the exception of Caucasians. Once again, God also didn't have nothing to do with this part, but the fact that Caucasians like John Brown, who's merely among the few and the many of Caucasians that sincerely wanted to help free blacks from the oppression of a slave condition in this country, as you can see. And matter of fact, as you could go do your research on, especially for those of you in the conscious community that always say, well, there's no Caucasian nowhere in place that sincerely ever tried to do anything, you know, in terms of fighting for our freedom as a people in this country. Okay. So with that myth debunked in this video, I still encourage you to go do your own research on that. You ain't got to take my word for it. Do your own research. And also too, but like I said before, God didn't have nothing to do with this. No mother plane spaceship from the skies had nothing to do with this. No other so-called extraterrestrial angels from the sky had anything to do with this. You know, none of that. So, I mean, it's time for us to get out of that silly way of thinking and come back to earth and get with reality for real. Because the reality is, as it stands, that we have not done nothing, okay, to since the civil rights movement, from 5 decades ago or so, to better our condition as a whole, far as the people is being concerned in this country. And that is a fact. As a brother Taalik, by way of brother King Noble, would say. And we have not really done nothing sufficiently to continue on our progress in obtaining liberation. That died when the civil rights movement ended. I mean, all we got to do is go back and flip the pages in history and see that. And I want to just say this, along with saying that our current so-called black leadership today in this country, like the Benjamin L. Crumps, that brother Benjamin L. Crump, who is a civil rights attorney for mostly those dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America that have been victimized by the racist police throughout this country. Okay, and also, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan, L. Sharpton, Benjamin Jealous. Who else? Most so-called recent black leader in this country you could think of. The list goes on. If they're doing anything to go out their way to really support the rights of those that are oppressed in this country, they either going out their way to support the rights of the LGBT community by even catering to their every whim along the way, all together, or supporting their own pockets and bank accounts. Okay, this is what's happening among our so-called leadership in the black community. Nothing else, no more or less. I mean, all you got to do is look around, which is called being spelled in black and white. Just look around. You ain't got to argue with me, but you can argue with the truth if you want to, because that's what's revealing all this, or what I'm talking about in this video. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's all geared towards the finishing off of our total demise as a people. And mind you, going back to those in the so-called black community that are into religion, or that's heavily involved with the religious community among dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, especially with Christianity and Islam and things of that nature. Remember what it says in your holy books, like the Quran and Bible, that civilizations, even prior to this most recent modern one, especially among us as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, have been destroyed. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, for those of you Muslims that read the Quran, the people of Talmud, you know, the people who got destroyed during the time of the biblical prophet Lot, during Sodom and Gomorrah, the people, during the time of the so-called ancient Israelites, during the times of Moses, Jesus, and all this other stuff, as far as story narratives that come out of these books, they've been destroyed. And also other contemporary history, whether it's in textbooks or other different type of books, through research, and not only through just research, but careful research, have even demonstrated that other civilizations for years and years, long as man has been on earth, has been destroyed. I mean, just think about it. Let's go back to the so-called Native American Indian tribes that were here, before the Europeans started coming over here to America as settlers, during the pre-Christopher Columbus era. It was tens of millions of them and tribes that was totally wiped out once they got here. Okay? Once the European invaders got here, those tribes were wiped out to the point that there's no known history about them. Okay? So what I'm saying to you that's listening, whether it's in the comment section or throughout the rest of YouTube land and social media, I just want to say that the reality is that we as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America are not exempt from that fact in reality, that the same thing, can happen to us at any given time. And we are right now, unfortunately, in that very dangerous position to where, in fact, we can be annihilated as other tribes in this land was. Okay, that you don't hear nothing about, even in terms of history, because everything about them was wiped away. So like I said before, the same thing can happen to us. And in the process, to really get to the meat of this topic as well, is that is what's going on, once again, going back to the drug epidemic, as far as crack cocaine and heroin that came before it, and that's still around as well. I have to say this, but that definitely has taken a toll on millions of us as a people, whether along with us being individuals, groups of people, families, which has led many of us into the vicious cycle of so-called mass incarceration, and also which has led many of us, untold numbers of us, to our early graves. And then we wonder why we got a lot of young kids and even grandkids running around here wild in the streets of America among dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, not knowing who their fathers or mothers are, not knowing who even their grandmothers or fathers are, because of this epidemic of drugs and violence as well that came along with it. And that's still occurring today in our communities of dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. So like I said before, this situation is still ongoing and it's not going to stop unless we really put our foot down and do something about it as a community and not merely sit back and wait on the law to do nothing about it, but get our butts up, get off our happy asses, and take charge of our own communities and do something about this. It's the bottom line. We could see that it ain't no use in waiting on incompetent leadership to help us do it. I mean, look at Louis Farrakhan, who's supposed to be the most, unquote, charismatic black leader in America right now. Leader of the, unquote, Nation of Islam, although there are more factions other than his group that are in the Nation of Islam. And one that's worthy of mentioning is the new Nation of Islam under Marvin Muhammad, aka Son of Man, that's doing a lot more work in the community that they got set up down in the small town of Mississippi than anything that Farrakhan and his organization has ever done, in spite of all the millions or billions that Farrakhan's organization has received through especially donations. So, however, that still ain't changed the fact that the continuing rise in gang violence and murders in Chicago is happening, where Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam headquarters is based at, as well as in other cities across America. And, like I say, you don't hear people like Benjamin L. Crump or L. Sharpton or Farrakhan himself, or Jesse Jackson getting out there in the streets of Chicago or elsewhere in America, pleading like HELL with our people to stop killing each other. Setting up alternatives tangibly that withdraw our people from committing violence and murder among each other, which is what the platform I speak from, Operation Exodus Mississippi, is geared towards doing once we could get that campaign off the ground, which we're in the process of promoting now, along with me and brother Taalik Ibn'rad, who I am assistant minister to on this platform. But anyway, like I said before, that all these Negroes want to do, and especially other Christian preachers I didn't mention in the so-called black community, like Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, the late Bishop Eddie, who just passed away not too long ago down in Atlanta. All they was doing is just sucking our communities dry. Now here it is, for an example. You got Atlanta, another metropolitan black city area that's in disarray, disenfranchised, blacks killing each other, like it's going out of style, ending up in the penitentiary left and right, like everywhere else in America, as far as especially with the metropolitan areas of this country. And then besides, Atlanta is supposed to be a civil rights city. That's supposed to be a city of symbol for black people, which was at one time considered the black Mecca here in America, which is why many flocked down there through migration back in the 90s. Like I was a part of that migration, by the way. But as time went on, and even according to some circumstances, and as time went on, I started seeing, like a lot of other people that went down there, that left from other parts of the United States to migrate to Atlanta, because they thought it was going to be more better opportunity and this and that, and other things for black people because of that city's historic civil rights background. And then considering the fact that that was the headquarters of the SCLC organization started by Martin Luther King down there, And but it turned out to realize that it wasn't no different from anywhere else in America. So many proceeded to leave, And me, myself, I haven't been back down there in years. But many proceeded to leave, because of that. Because they realized that it wasn't nothing but a false promise dream that was sold to them. And but yet still you got all this going on in Atlanta, and you got Negroes like Creflo Dollar among the living still, unlike Bishop Eddie, who was himself nothing but a charlatan, who was only making money off our people's so-called spiritual suffering. And with him doing the same thing, and having people that was foolish enough to donate $65 million to him so he could get an airplane to be able to travel around the world to preach that foolishness that he's still preaching from behind the rostrum. But here it is, you got people in Atlanta where his church congregation is based at that don't have nowhere to stay, on the streets, homeless, destitute, barely surviving, barely doing whatever it takes to stay away from getting locked up down there. Their lives being at risk every day, and all other type of craziness, like what happens with us as so-called black people throughout America. And and then you got the black down there, like him, who just don't give a damn about the less fortunate blacks in that city. Just like, once again, in all other metropolitan areas where dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America are concentrated at here in the United States, and even including in the smaller towns. And let me tell you something about the smaller towns, because I've lived in the smaller towns too. And I even do live in one. It may not be small, but I live in a small city, as compared to most other metropolitan cities in America. But this one I live in happens to be predominantly Caucasian white, okay? That's another thing and another topic and a subject for another time, which I've also spoken on before in other videos. But once again, like I said, all this, what I'm saying is parallelly leading to the mass destruction and the completion of the mass destruction of our people. Is what the main point is where I'm getting at, to show y'all, once again, that no God, whether it's Jesus or Allah, is going to come from the skies to save you. Ain't no mothership going to come out the sky to save you. And by the way, like I said in another video, when me and brother Taalik was on air yesterday, you know, these people that follow Louis Farrakhan, and especially including Farrakhan himself, keep saying or teaching that Elijah Muhammad is alive up in some damn mother plane ship. So if that's the case with him, why other people, even those less fortunate followers who have died off, that were members of the Nation of Islam, who gave their life in sacrifice for the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, ain't there with him to enjoy whatever's going on in that mothership plane where Elijah Muhammad is supposed to be existing at? You know, not as a dead person, but as a person that's alive. Okay, this is what the Nation of Islam under Louis Farrakhan teaches. So I just wanted to just throw that out there. You know, and of course, Elijah Muhammad never taught that, you know, a matter of fact, Elijah Muhammad always taught, or basically taught, whether on more than one occasion, that once you dead, you dead. You know, he said once you die, you ain't coming back. And he said once he died, he wasn't coming back. So, I mean, where does Farrakhan anyway come up with this thing about him being alive somewhere on a mother plane ship? How come he ain't went to visit him? To especially come back here and tell us physically how things was up there on that mother plane ship, when he's supposed to be the divine second coming of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, according to him. You know, so like I said before, and this thing with, and I'm pretty sure if he is the divine second coming of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm pretty sure that Elijah Muhammad would not be pleased with him mixing his teachings as they were when he was alive with the teachings of a racist Caucasian known as L. Ron Hubbard. And what comes along with those Scientology teachings that was produced by L. Ron Hubbard, which they even got a Par TV show series being shown on the A&E channel about, which was revealing the incorruption of that religious organization, and other sources that is provenly confirmed the same thing about the incorruption and craziness that goes on within that religious organization called Scientology. But yet, Farrakhan had the audacity, because he didn't give a damn, to let these people pay him $3 million to sell out his own black followers in the Nation of Islam, and to sell out other black people as well by turning them over as slaughter to that incorrupt organization. So, like I said before, this is where all this is leading to. Once again, in parallel to the total demise of our destruction as black people, which means eventual total extermination. If we do not get our heads out of the mud or stuck in the mud to do something about our condition for real. If we do not get our heads from out of being stuck in the mud to do something about our condition as a people overall, we're through. Matter of fact, we may be through now. Like Brother Taalik always say, we may be out of time. Which that means apparently it's over with. Because, like I said before, oh yeah, brother, I've been for about a good 35 something minutes. Yeah. But like I said before, yeah, and yes, once again, Brother Taalik is in the comment section. Shout outs to him, and yes, brother. Yeah, this thing is real. This, we are in on the brink of extermination. Yes sir, yes sir. I will definitely, yes. And like I said, we on the brink of extermination. For real, yes, we are on the brink of extermination, without no doubt. This is nothing to play with. Like I said, once again, we can keep playing with reality all we want to. I've outlined just a few things to show y'all, among many things, that's parallelly leading us to total extermination. One, to further move along, like Brother Tommy Sotomayor came out with a video talking about why black people should not get behind these illegal immigrants or our unquote brown brothers that's trying to get into this country across the southern border. Well, I have to agree with the brother on that, because they definitely don't share our best interests commonly in no kind of way. And once they make it across this border, for those of you, especially in pockets like out in California where a lot of Mexicans are, Texas, Arizona, places like that, you see how they feel about you. They're taking over your neighborhoods, running you even out of your own neighborhoods like in Compton. They don't have no respect for us. No one respects us. And in these other different ethnic groups among the Latino community, they're being even put in place. Like I heard a sister on one of Tommy Sotomayor's, matter of fact, they call her the Nubian Queen on social media. But she pointed out one vital thing that is definitely true. One important thing that's true was that these Latinos have been put in place to rule over us, especially with them identifying themselves as being white people in the census. For those of you who know or don't know, they're being put in place, especially for those of you, especially in the conscious community who talks about the white people's population being decreased. Well, those ones are being put in place, like she said, to help it, make it look like the Caucasian European is still the majority in this nation, as far as a group of people are concerned. Okay. Now, I don't really know nothing about whether the Caucasians are actually going extinct, as some, especially in the conscious black community, would say or teach. But I do know one thing, that these Latinos are being put in place, especially mainly the lighter skinned complexion ones that can go for white, They're being put in a position, to rule over us and to dominate over us in this society. This is why they're able to piggyback off our ancestors' struggle in the civil rights movement of the 50s and 60s more than we are as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. So, I mean, there's no common ground there whatsoever. So my thing is this. With that said, there's no respect for us. Once again, it's gotten to the point, even going back to the drug epidemic, which also has caused this in terms of the division and separation of us as a so-called black community in this country. It has made it possible where even the average Caucasian could come in predominant black neighborhoods. And I've seen it personally in this country and call black people niggas. I mean, call dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America, which I preferably call our people, but have been allowed or been able to come into our communities and address us with that word term and nothing be done about it. I saw it and experienced it in Kansas City, Missouri, in a black neighborhood. Although when they called me one, I happened to be standing in front of a local Nation of Islam mosque that belonged to the followers of Louis Farrakhan. And they rolled by one Sunday morning while I was waiting for them to open up the mosque, which they never did because that day they was just closed for some reason. And this car passed by and there's some white boys in there and they screamed out the N-word in a predominant black neighborhood in Kansas City. Now mind you, don't get it twisted. They could come in our black neighborhoods in any shape, form, or fashion in any way they want to now. This is how weak we have gotten as a people. We can't go in nobody else's neighborhood freely, any kind of way, or how we want to. You know what I'm saying? And soul sisters, yes, thank you, brother Taalik. Soul sisters and brothers, which I also prefer to our people as well, because soul is something that we created and was not created by our slave masters or anyone else. It's something that I choose to identify our people as, and why our people should want to choose to identify themselves as, since that term came from us during the 60s, okay? And like I said before, once again, getting back to what I was saying about the disrespect, yes, thank you for correcting me, brother. Yes, our name definitely came from us, as far as the people of soul being concerned. But like I said before, going back again to my point of what I was making, or what I've been trying to make here is that as far as the situation going on with how white people could come in our neighborhoods and disrespect us, and even call our woman the B word, probably, and we just stand there and don't do nothing about it. It's like the Koreans and the Chinese could slap our women down and do whatever they want to do in them nail salons in black communities throughout America. Dictates that don't nobody have no respect for us. This is, once again, the parallel leading to our extermination. Can you see, brothers and sisters of soul, or what I'm saying? Soul, brothers and sisters, can you see this? Who are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. Can you see this? I mean, man, it grinds my gears when those of you who see truth for what it is, and even know it's the truth, but still find it so hard to accept And then you wonder why the condition is getting worse as it is getting every day in this nation, you know? And I mean, the only thing, two things I could say is either we just simply don't give a damn because we so embroiled in that slave mentality that's been carrying on for over 400 years, or it's the mere fear of our slave masters' children. And that's just the plain out simple truth. It can't get no plain truthful than that. You know, at that point. But like I said before, you know, it's like this. Because I've seen this happen in Detroit. Before I left Detroit a few years ago, I used to see white boys riding bikes through one of the most roughest neighborhoods I stayed in Detroit, where you better not even be seen as a white person even coming through back in the 80s, the 90s, and even early 2000s, unless you was going in the neighborhood to cop some drugs, or if you was a police, or if you happen to be passing through in a car and not stopping, not even to go get gas to put in your car. But now they could just come in our community any kind of way they want to. You know, but we can't go in their community any kind of way we want to. And we already know the history of that and the present of that fact that's still going on today while being black in America, or dark skinned in America, which I prefer to call us, you know, as people of soul. And like I said before, and it's just crazy. You know, it's just crazy. You even like back home in Detroit, what I saw, and I'm pretty sure it ain't no different nowhere else, even in the heavily populated black metropolitan areas of this country beside Detroit, Michigan, where you can see a white boy in the black community selling crack cocaine to our people. You know, and I know for a fact, even still to this day, the average black drug dealer don't trust white drug addicts or white people no farther than they can see them when it comes to that you know, type of element of thing. You know, and the thing about it is that here it is, yet you gonna allow a Caucasian to come in your community and sell dope. The Arabs is selling dope in our community, while they having our brothers, you know, spreading it across our communities, you know, from the back rooms of their stores that they're using as business fronts in our communities. I mean, man, come on. Can I have a witness? Especially for those of you in Christianity as soul sisters and brothers. Can I have a witness? I mean, man, really? Because this thing here, I mean, it can't be disputed in no kind of way. It's the truth of the matter. And this is what we are about here on this platform called Reality Temple Ministries on Earth. You know, it may sound raw and rugged, but hey, you know, we'd rather come like that than these half-truths that's being put out by our people and so-called leadership from among us, than to be bullcrapping ourselves about the real reality that exists among us as a people in this country. You know, so like I said before, you know, we could take this for a game all we want to, We could keep playing with our lives and our future generations' lives. But hey, it is what it is. Our extermination is definitely right at our doorstep as I even speak. You know, and I want to just say that though I am not about religion, and I respect what brother Marvin Muhammad, you know, they say Cynthia G is the new Harriet Tubman. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, okay. Well, that's a poor example of one. I can say that much. But yeah, moving along anyway. Yeah, moving along, wow, yeah. Yeah, but moving along, like I said, for real, it's just crazy. It's really crazy. And I mean, we got to really get down with this thing called reality of the truth, or we gonna be laying in a mass grave pine box. They got them waiting for us across the country. Google it up on YouTube. They got them waiting for us. People have already confirmed that they have drove in vehicles or trucks around this country and have seen it with their own eyes, where they got these makeshift human caskets stacked on top of each other, being moved around on train cargo throughout the country. This is no game. Keep playing if you want to. This is not no game. And when America gets ready to lay down that move in terms of throwing people in concentration camps and hauling people off to the mass graves, we as dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America will be the first on the chopping block to be hauled off to these FEMA concentration camps and mass graves that they got waiting on us. All you got to do is Google it. And whether you agree with a lot of things, I'm not a fan of Alex Jones neither, but whether you agree with him or not, some of that information that him and other people like Jesse Ventura, who happen to be Caucasians, have been presenting, along with other people that have presented this information as well to confirm what they are saying, is nothing even far from the truth. It's nothing far from the truth at all. I'm gonna say it again. It's nothing far from the truth. This is what we're facing. Just look at how they treated our people during Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Look at how they treated them people since Trump been the president during that recent hurricane last year in Houston. Look at how they, damn. Trump didn't even visit Panama City, Florida, when they had their hurricane. FEMA ain't even get involved. Wait a minute, hold up. Did I say FEMA didn't get involved? But yet, you got a lot of people in this country thinking that FEMA give a damn about the human population of this country. So that's an indicator right there that show you that they got other agendas. And it's not about the welfare of the people of this nation, especially those of us who are people of soul, that are dark-skinned descendants of slaves born here in America. And that's just the plain reality of it. And like I say, do y'all research. It's online, it's on YouTube, it's throughout social media. Just go do your own research. That's all I ask you to do. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. You could draw all you want to from your own conclusions. Even at that point, you could draw to your own conclusions and your own mere opinion that don't reflect the truth. But once you're shown the truth, take it or leave it. Like Elijah Muhammad used to say when he was around. Like, so like I said before, it is what it is. But anyway, I was gonna speak on Marvin Muhammad for a second, few minutes, or a couple of minutes. Marvin Muhammad, aka known as the Son of Man of the New Nation Islam. Even though I agree with what he's doing in building, to bring some type of suffice to those that are following him and in the community that they got set up in this small town down in Mississippi, which I keep forgetting the name of. I have to say this, that I wouldn't mind working with the New Nation of Islam at this point because of the kind of work that Marvin Muhammad and the New Nation of Islam is doing. But I would not be bound by his teachings of religion or no type of form of religion, far as being a part and helping the New Nation of Islam to achieve on what they're working to accomplish in terms of building. Okay? But I wouldn't mind helping them because they're doing the good work down there in Mississippi, even along with the followers that I know about that's helping in the work of building. That they in Detroit. He does have followers in Detroit, and they're definitely at helping with the building. They're working within the building process of what the New Nation Islam is doing, and he definitely does have devoted followers in Detroit, Michigan. I seen them when I was living there, and like I said, at least to an extent, and I'm only saying to an extent, that they're more better off like they are, with making a buck count, more so than those that follow Louis Farrakhan, And those of you that follow Louis Farrakhan, of course, I know that you're going to disagree. But I mean, like I said, don't argue with me. Argue with the facts of the truth. Don't argue with me. The facts is right there. You could go even on their New Nation of Islam channel that Marvin Muhammad and them got set up and see that for yourself. And they ain't got half of the money, or near half of the money, that the Nation of Islam under Louis Farrakhan has accumulated over the years since Louis Farrakhan started that organization back in the late 70s upon the claim that he was trying to rebuild the Nation of Islam as it was under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But other than that, anything else outside of that, all I see is total bleakness in the future of black people in this country. Oh, and beside this platform, mainly and most importantly, where we're coming from here at Operation Exodus, Mississippi, which you could Google on our Operation Exodus Mississippi page. Google on our Operation Exodus Mississippi page to see exactly what I'm talking about and where we're coming from with this idea that me and brother Taalik formulated in March or early this year of 2018. And since we've been putting this ideal out in social media it has been yet that anybody has been able to disprove what we're saying, to be right about how this ideal could work and creating, carving out a new reality for us all massively as descendants or dark-skinned descendants of slaves born in America. And, you know, like I said before, this is real. So go to our Operation Exodus Mississippi channel. Other than that, and see for yourself what we're further talking about regarding this ideal, which we're aiming to attempt to get off the ground, to make this a true living reality, not only for ourselves, but for our future generations to come behind us. And, you know, other than that, you know, I got to definitely say this here. You know, for real, yeah, we are looking, we're headed for extermination. To those of you dark-skinned brothers and sisters in the streets who are descendants of slaves born in America, whether you're in Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, East St. Louis, Atlanta, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, you know, California, wherever you at in this nation, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, wherever you at, you know, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Toledo, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, wherever y'all at in this country, Gary, Indiana, wherever y'all are at, just know, as long as y'all keep doing what y'all doing to each other in them streets. Oh, let me not leave out Omaha, Nebraska, and even here, an hour away from there, here in Lincoln, Nebraska, the state capital. You know, I must say that as long as we keep doing what we're doing to each other, killing each other, especially over petty crumbs, and half the time which we ain't even legally getting, okay, off of master's table. You know, long as we keep doing that, we are definitely going to be laying, you know, on top of each other in the mass graves. And like I've always said in other videos prior to this one, I don't care if you're a homosexual, a race swirler, a celebrity, a millionaire, billionaire, or just a plain out poor soul brother and sister, whatever your status is in life, a crackhead, a heroin addict, you know, alcoholic, whatever you is, you're going to be laying on top of each other. Because hopefully I don't look toward being a part of that situation. Because it's either I'd rather be in another country or dead. Because I'm just telling you, parallelly, where we're going is leading to that. It's leading to that. So just know it is leading to that. And you can keep taking it for a game. You can keep getting distracted by these politics, especially in Washington. They ain't did a damn thing for us as, on the massive level as a people, and don't intend to do nothing for us on a massive level as a people. You know? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Damn. See that? That's what I'm talking about. Thanks for that commentary, brother Taalik. Yeah. Yeah, brother, young 21-year-old brother just got murdered over $300. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. You know, I keep up with the news regularly that goes on in my hometown of Detroit. You know, where how was this brother? Damn, I think this brother here was he was in his early 20s, and he was in his house, and the suspect was like in his early 30s, and both of them got killed in the process of cross gunfire, back and forth gunfire. They got killed over a marijuana drug deal gone bad. So I mean, you know, here it is. This man wanted to come after this younger brother over a damn bag of marijuana because he saw he could probably try to rob him for it. And he found out by way of a surprise that the brother was prepared for that. So the brother, who was the victim in that situation, started backfiring his gun. And in the process, like I said, both of them ended up getting killed. You know, as dead pronounceably. And that was that. You know, just like the other day I said in that same video, I talked about that where a young sister in her early 30s in Detroit, beside that situation I just mentioned, which was in Pontiac, Michigan, a city on the outskirts of Detroit, was being followed home by an assailant. Her and another female that was in the car together. And they almost got ran over, and they ended up making it in the driveway safely and being able to go into the house. But the assailant turns around and come back, this time with a gun, and kicks in the door and see the 30-year-old sister in the room, spots her and kill her instantly. See, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Even though they say no one knows what was linked or behind that situation, but you know, at the end of the day, it really don't matter. It's getting to the point, it's been to the point, it really don't matter. Because we're killing each other wholesale. We're killing each other wholesale. And that goes back to this old saying of the Ku Klux Klan when they said back in the early 90s, you see there, look at them niggas. We ain't got to kill them. All we got to do is sit back and watch them kill each other. I mean, like I say, don't argue with me. It's all in black and white. Just go look at it for yourself. Just look around for yourself. The truth could stand on its own. But hey, like I said, don't argue with me. If you want something to argue with the truth. You know, and like I said before, I really, it hurts. It's painful, but it's just the reality. And so either you accept your reality and move on, and let's do something concretely to change this all the way around for once and for all, or we're done. We're a done deal. And it's just that simple. And with that said, thank you, Brother Taalik, and for those who may have been listening along with him in the comment section, and also for those who are watching in the rest of YouTube land and social media, or on Facebook, or wherever you're at in social media watching, I give my shout outs to you and thank you once again. And with the usual salutation word, that me and Brother Taalik close our videos out in from this platform. Peace.